To be honest with you, I've always had a fascination for the Starfarer. It was one of the first big ships of Star Citizen, and I've always loved how its interior could be an FPS level on its own. It's also one of the most challenging ships to pilot in the game, and it's also arguably the most outdated ship of the verse as of Star Citizen 4.6. That, combined with the fact that its sole role as a refueling ship has been undermined by the convenience of the ubiquitous presence of rest stops around Stanton and Pyro, and it's no surprise that the Starfarer is therefore one of the rarest player-flown ships you'll ever encounter in the verse. However, with the arrival of the MISC system in Star Citizen 4.5 and its cross-system missions, this might be about to change. You see, it has become a common occurrence for fighter pilots to run out of quantum fuel after a couple of missions, especially if their crafts are equipped with high-performance quantum drives, which leaves no choice but to go for a time-consuming refueling run to any nearby station, and this is precisely where we found out that the Starfarer could be a valuable asset. And if you're wondering, yes, I am using an eye tracker. It's the Beam eye tracker that you can acquire for a single purchase of $30. You will find a link in the description as well as the link to a video I've made explaining how it works. So, piloting the Starfarer. So before you leave, it's very important to know that you should not forget to refill the fuel pods, because when you claim your ship or you get your ship delivered, the fuel pods are empty, and so you have to manually fill them in the landing tab of the Moby class. It's important to keep in mind that the Starfarer has 6 refueling pods, and they can be refilled either from a hangar or also a pad. I have to say that it's also quite expensive here. If you want to refuel all of your pods, it's definitely going to cost you several hundreds of thousands of Alpha UEC, which you can either decide to charge more to people, or maybe for 0 Alpha UEC if it's your org, because probably money is not a problem and you are going to refuel because you want to grind some reputation. It's also worth noting that there is a bug when refilling. It seems like the interface is very clunky and it's nearly impossible to entirely fill the pods here. The first one works, the second one gets filled at about 30% and I cannot use any of the other pods. But if you are flying with a small group, it's probably going to be enough nevertheless. So, at the start of your operation with a small group, you are probably going to be using the Starfarer as a support ship. It's important to remember that the Starfarer should never be the spearhead of your operation, but it can provide additional firepower, especially with its missiles. It has 9 Arrestor 3 missiles, which are pretty good for long distances, which also allow you to stay safe, but also it has some really strong pilot-controlled quad laser cannons, at least in its Gemini version, which can be devastating against fighters. Also, keep in mind that the Starfarer is a very sluggish ship, so keep your distances, especially in asteroid-dense areas. And so, after a few missions, the time will come where the fighters are going to need to be refueled. So, for that, they are going to have to do a docking request, which you're going to have to accept. Then, you're going to have to leave your pilot seat and go to a terminal that's going to be located behind you right there. From here, the first thing that you are going to have to do is to deploy the boom. With that, the fighters are going to be able to dock to your Starfarer. Then you are going to have to let the fighter select a refuel order, and once that is the case, you are going to have to open the pods so that the fuel can go into their fighters. You're going to also have to adjust the flow of fuel. Not enough and it's going to be very slow, and too much and you're going to overspill your fuel and you're going to waste it, which of course is something you want to avoid. It's also worth mentioning that there is a bug right now and that the Starfarer is shaking a lot once a ship is docked to it, so it's something that you are going to have to do with that. Also, you may suffer from a crash to desktop if you are a fighter docked to a Starfarer. This is unfortunately something that happened to Race Guide as he was trying to refuel his ship with my Starfarer. But when it works, I think that the process is surprisingly quick. We tried several times and we managed to refill fighters in about 1 minute, but I'm pretty sure that with more experience and more coordination, we could eventually do that in half of that time. So, once the refueling process is done, well, you can still stick around if you have enough fuel with you and continue to take part in combat. It's also worth noting that you can also save pilots who may have their ships destroyed or soft death, and they can join the ship and eventually get into a turret. The Starfarer is also a tough ship, which can take a lot of damage, but unfortunately, as of 4.5, it is not compatible with engineering, meaning that if your ship suffers from component critical failures, it's going to be very difficult to make it run again. And so here we are, this is how the Starfarer finally is becoming relevant in the verse. It's actually a great asset for small groups playing together in the MISC system, as not only does it allow to save a lot of time when having to refuel, but it can also act as a decent support ship capable of inflicting damage as needed and rescue pilots who are forced to eject. I think that the way MISC is currently set up perfectly fits its role, and I am quite surprised to see that despite the need for refueling, there aren't more people in the verse taking it for a spin. But let me know in the comment section down below, guys, do you own a Starfarer, or perhaps you would hire one? Well, my friend Sigalion and his Org Ultima Energy actually do that for a living in the verse. I'll put the link in their Discord or website if you want to check them out and hire their services. And so that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, well, a like will hugely help with the YouTube algorithm, and why not subscribing to be notified when a new video is up. As always, a huge thank you to my Patreon and YouTube members who go the extra mile with additional support, including Dr. Forbin, Socartassisius, Toki2Docker, Shadow Rise, and Zero Crusher. I have been Irad. Have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Industries, a journey worth taking. Systems on. Attack on shields.